But then when you get into a position like a chairmanship, and you have to start holding on to your principles and your beliefs, yet working with the other side, and of course that is, negotiating comes in well. You know, I learned how to negotiate when we were dealing with things on the farm, but even more so when I was buying and selling radio stations. But you learn how to negotiate. You have, like for me with the governor, I had 21 reforms I got 13 out of those 21. Did I want the others? Absolutely. But I was willing to give them up because they were built in. I think that's what we have to get back. We have to take a look at what's good for the country, not what's good for the DFL or the GOP.
I agree.
I mean, and if you can't stand up to your party leadership, and I guess somebody asked me if I've ever stood up, I said, well, call Governor Pawlenty, and talk to him about it. I stood strong for what people in my Senate district wanted, and it was not what our party wanted. But I stood strong because these are the people that elected me, and it was good. Researched it was good for the state. Matter of fact, 82% of the state wanted the program, but we couldn't get it through. So we have to have those that, it's always been said, it's got to sting a little bit on both sides to get something done, and that's where the statesman comes in.
So speaking of what's good for the country, are you familiar with the fair tax bill? Have you read it?
I've read, as a matter of fact, one of your friends gave me the book, the Fair Tax book. I've got
There are 3 books.
I've got 2 of them that I've been
There are
sold them and Shirley going.
70 co-sponsors to the bill right now. Will you co-sponsor and help bring it to the floor?
Well, as soon as I read the bill,
So it'll take you an hour or 2.
Yeah, well, I'll do that. I'll read the bill and take a look at it, and I'll give you an answer. But I do believe that we missed it.
This is my get out and vote issue this year.
Yeah, we missed the greatest opportunity this country had. When the President Obama took over, he had the House and the Senate. They could have done total reform in the United States.
I've met with Senator Welch's staff last summer on the fair tax bill. Met with them, had a discussion, answered all of their questions, and the Democrats just are a straight party. They don't even want to consider this. This is good for the country. It reduces the opportunity for fraud. It reduces the size of government. It reduces the number of points of tax collection, which means you have to audit fewer people so that those people can be audited more often. And I'm a tax accountant by trade. Work in 2 states. The small businesses are overwhelmed with the compliance, the cost of compliance, the arbitrariness of these. The layers and layers of revenue rulings. IRS has come out with some more just this week.
Well, and I just heard that today. One gentleman that they said he needed to pay the tariff or the bounty on some product, and it cost him $200,000, but he won. I mean,
one of my clients was fined for paying his payroll taxes 2 days early. He just didn't pay it electronically. He was sending a check. I mean, the check cashed and cleared his bank 2 days prior to the due date. Can't get out of the fine. $1,100. What could that have done for his business?
Right. I hear you. And like I say, the opportunity was there, and now we have to battle to get to that point again. And here's what you're told. When I had my little stiff with the governor and he finally said, let's have breakfast together, I said, okay. So I went to the mansion and I had breakfast with Governor Dayton. And we sat there, and once we got through that, kind of a little uncomfortable first 5, 6, 7 minutes, until you kind of hit some common ground, we started talking about what I'd like to achieve in the state of Minnesota, which is a lot on the federal side as well, and what he would. And we both agreed that this not only does the state of Minnesota, but the federal government need tax reform overhaul. And I said, well, Governor, do you have a plan? And he said, I do. I said, give it to me, I'll carry it. I'm in the majority. I'll carry your bill. Let's have a discussion. Let's bring it to committee. Let's talk about what we could do to change the tax in the state of Minnesota. And he goes, we can't do that this year. And I'm going, why can't we do it this year? He said, because it's an election year. and it will affect all the voters. He said, you're going to get in trouble because it's going to affect some business people because they're going to lose some of those credits that they get. I'm going to get in trouble because it's going to, some people that don't pay are going to have to start paying. And I said, Governor, then what the hell are we here for then? If it's not to do the right thing, whether it's an election year or not. And the problem is we have too many on both sides of the aisle that are so worried about being reelected that they're not focusing on doing the right thing. That's what's frustrating for me. We have something that everybody agrees. I don't care if it's Senator Tom Bach from the DFL or Senator Julianne Ortman from our side. These tax chairs know it has to be done. Nobody will take the bull by the horns and stand up because of the, look, I tried to change pensions by 3% to help solve the, unsustainability, and I had
Going
threats.
to the last training with the Minnesota Department of Revenue, this is how complex our sales tax is. You know that a certain not named dog adoption agency in Minnesota was assessed a $135,000 penalty for not collecting sales tax on each dog adoption.
Interesting.
We collect, this is a quote, we collect use tax for businesses that might purchase something out of state to make them a level playing field and more competitive.
Right.
That's not true. We're paying 6.875%. Wisconsin, 5.5%. We're the highest sales tax state of all of the states surrounding us. We are not competitive.
Right.
We would only be competitive if each and every business in the state of Minnesota were audited for use tax. You can't pick and choose and say we're being competitive.
Well, look
The
at
only ones that
federally.
get caught.
We're not as competitive as we should be on the global. When we take a look at the other countries, we're just not. What are we, 40%?
Corporate tax, I think it's another one or two. I think Japan is higher than ours.
Yeah. And so how do we generate jobs, grow the economy?
You better read the fair tax bill.
I'll pull it up. Doug will remind me. We'll pull it up. How long is it? I hope it's not 2,700 pages.
It's like 72 pages long.
Oh.
Well, the current code is roughly 70,000 pages.
Yeah, 72,000. I just looked it up.
72,000,
Yeah. So.
Encyclopedia for something.
Arbitrary, just arbitrary.
We need to get some of the money back, repatriate our dollars, like we did in 2000. Like we did in 2004. What did we bring in? $300 billion that quick, dropping down to 5.25%. I mean,
It would help solve the balance of trade.
right. Of course, we should drill here.
Yes.
We should refine here. We should do the. Hey, is anybody concerned about the fact that China's going to spend $15 billion and buy that Canadian oil company?
And there's a lot of they have a lot of contracts.
Have many sovereign state is it Idaho or Montana? They're actually talking about square. The reason I raised Miami before you said when I read the bill, and we all know that Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass Obamacare to know what's in it.
Yeah.
So, we need every bill has to have time to be looked over. Some sort of read the bill act or another thing. Our founding fathers did not intend to have lawyers, in Congress and the Senate, and so there should also be a plain language act. I understand that the Patriot Act had nothing to do with plain language. It was more or less going through and editing all these other bills that had gone before. If you sat down and tried to go through it, it would take you months. We have
What is it? Didn't somebody come out and wanted a law that said the bills could only be one page? I was reading that. I think it'd be great.
Sounds like Bill Proxmire.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, this is the same thing that we've done up at the state. We try to do at least a 72-hour rule. When a bill comes out before you can do anything with it. But we have to have time. We've done some dumb things here in the state. I remember the year they passed the tax bill. That must have been in was that, 2009 or something, when my predecessor, Senator Dick Day, was seen grabbing all the rules books and then throwing them on Senator Pogemiller's desk because they just didn't care. They didn't care if the citizens saw what was going on or had time to understand the bill. Those are the things that we have to stop.
We have the most transparent administration ever, don't we?
Oh, sure. Yeah. What else can I take to Washington?
How do you stop these companies like GSA from doing all these things that they've been doing without authority, I guess, or,
Accountability.
I mean,
Nobody's,
and that's one that got caught.
Right.
How many others are doing it that don't get caught?
well, I'm sure they're out there. When you do have some good investigative reporters, that's how they get caught. And now, everything, I still say what we're going through today, if we do it right, will make everybody more accountable because it's all about the pocketbook. And when the money is short, people say, where's that money going? Why is it going there? They're asking questions. For way too long, we didn't ask questions of our congressmen. We just thought they were doing the right thing for us. We didn't know that they automatically increased their salary. We didn't know that was happening until somebody brought it up, but they did it. These are the things. We didn't know that they were getting themselves a Cadillac medical program. Oh, we out here were suffering. Oh, by the way, that's a couple of the other things that I would like to do. I'll have a bill that says whatever health care, if we do develop one, is the same health care that congressmen and women should have. Same with retirement. Why are they any different than we are? I've got a 401k program. I had my ups and downs. Why are they different?
Well, that's just it. A lot of the laws are there, and what we're suffering from is, selective enforcement.
Right.
The laws don't apply to Congress.
Well, it should, and I think we need people that will gather together and get that done. And if
We
they
need
don't,
to get that out to the people, that you are, that's what you know.
absolutely.
The other thing the stocks of the stock market, how all the politicians in Washington they're passing laws that directly affect their own portfolios. So I don't know if there's a way to set up like a line where they have no idea what's in there, but it's based solely on the entire stock market, however the country does. Then instead of this where like Nancy Pelosi was hiding all her oil stocks and they're getting have stocks in credit card companies, so they're passing all these laws. Just some way to get Congress out of the stock market or make it where they're not. I mean, there's no such thing as conflict of interest anymore, it seems like, but when they're passing bills and regulations that's directly benefiting them because they own the stocks of those companies, it's just sickening to the rest of us.
Well, it just goes back to the quality of the person that you put into office. And that's what, yes.
When I ran that time, I had to turn around and fill out the Minnesota part, and I imagine you did, whatever stocks you own.
Right.
Maybe the similar requirement should be done in federal cases that we know what you own in stocks. What companies, not the value, but the amount.
I'm trying to think. I think I had to fill something like that.
I had to fill it out.
On the federal level.
Okay.
On the federal level. I'm
I
pretty
think that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. So where are you on the audit fed?
sure. Well, we should. Nobody knows what the hell's going on there. I mean, really.
The mini audit,
What's that?
the mini audit they did a couple of years ago, Bloomberg reported that the Federal Reserve had, sent 16 trillion to banks in the European Union. I mean, so we're on the hook for that. You and I, the taxpayers, are on the hook for the money, 16 trillion that they sent to. That's pretty outstanding.
I know. We talked to, I'm going to bring this up because he and I have talked about education and about student loans and that. And, I was asked the other day, where am I at with education? And, I just believe that we have to have kids coming out of school that can compete globally, but we don't have to have the federal government telling them the parents how they're going to raise their kids.